Hello, my name is Alan Pate, and this presentation discusses Nicholas Carr's suggestion that IT systems should be treated as a commodity in today's business environment rather than the status quo of reinvesting into IT hardware, software, and associated personnel in order to stay competitive. In my opinion, Mr. Carr makes a valid, albeit simplistic, argument as to why IT solutions should be utilized as a commodity rather than a direct expense of doing business. While almost all business today operates within the confines of some sort of an IT environment, the shift towards an IT utility is an interesting concept. How much computing power does an organization need? Some would say that the answer depends on the size of the organization and that a larger business needs more computing power. But does it? It may need more input and output devices, but does it really require more computing power? The ability to perform tens of thousands of mathematical equations per second? I would suggest that, as Mr. Carr stated in his article, IT doesn't matter. That organizations likely do waste a large majority of their IT potential by merely performing common tasks such as word processing, developing presentations, creating spreadsheets, and surfing the internet. Does a company really need sophisticated computer systems to accomplish these common tasks? In most circumstances, probably not. That's not to say that old technology should be kept around indefinitely. With the rapid expansion of technology, businesses must update their equipment in order to be able to communicate with their customers' technology and keep up with their competitors. This race to stay ahead or merely at pace with the industry standard is somewhat of an artificial necessity aided by those that sell various computing components and software. Many of us, if not all by now, have used some part of the Microsoft Office suite, Word, PowerPoint, Outlook, or others. Was Outlook 97 less productive than Outlook 2010? Sure, certain convenience features were added, like cool alerts to sync with our smartphones, but it doesn't both programs essentially do the same thing? Why would a business with a thin profit margin take on the expense of upgrading the software when they both do almost the exact same thing? In the Department of Defense medical system, we are transitioning from one system for using digital x-rays to a new system. Digital x-ray is somewhat new, and the old system was in use for roughly 5 years before this. A new web-based system is being used now that offers no benefit to the end user, the physician and their patients. Same patient experience, same quality, similar interface, and the same output. So why the change in the system, and why the added cost? The simple answer is that it was marketed well and there was money available to spend regardless of the expense was needed or not. Mr. Carr made the suggestion that IT systems should be utilized like a commodity where companies could purchase computing power and resources similarly to how electricity and telecommunication services are made. Drawing this comparison has its value as information systems are as common as electricity and phone systems. Outsourcing the equipment and resources can make sense for many organizations, barring one exception. There isn't many options for total IT system support for large businesses. In the military, a total service provider for IT solutions began in 2008 to handle the IT needs for the Navy and Marine Corps. Interestingly, only the Marines utilize NMCI for all aspects of computing and network needs. Serving in various Marine Corps commands, I've had the opportunity to deal with NMCI and experience the way in which the commodity was used on a daily basis. Problems with customer service, internet and email outages, inflexibility, and lack of interoperability with other IT services and systems made dealing with NMCI a daily challenge. While having a third-party responsibility for our IT needs frees up capital and people to perform other tasks, it also highlights the vulnerability an organization has when allowing another entity to handle such an important function. Carr's argument that IT systems should be viewed as a commodity is one that many balk at, but if we were examine the current state of the technological world, I think some may see the possibility is closer than most would think. Cloud computing is something that is becoming more and more prevalent, with providers offering data warehousing and backup for computer devices. Many industries are trying to outsource cloud based systems simply due to a lack of server space within the business themselves. Using a third party frees up expenses on equipment maintenance, hardware and software costs, and the need for specialized staff to manage the equipment. Cloud computing is still in its infancy, but it's beginnings of what Carr was talking about, using IT as a commodity available by all. What gives businesses an edge over their competition is no longer the availability and use of computer based solutions, but rather what strategic decisions are based on the analysis of the data collected and stored. I can foresee a business environment in the near future where computer, monitor, and keyboard is all the user needs. The input device is connected to a network provider that has endless amounts of hardware and software capabilities, and businesses are charged on what they use and how much IT resources are consumed. This environment would be beneficial as companies would only pay for what they needed rather than for wasted storage space and computing requirements that go beyond their needs. Some argue that IT should not be viewed as a commodity due to the value IT systems bring to a company. But using an IT as a means to spark innovation, limitless potential is possible through the use of various technologies. By simplifying IT as merely a utility, the resource can be underutilized and underappreciated. After all, people are just as prevalent as IT hardware and software. Does that mean personnel are also a commodity? Many would say that people have the ability to add value by means of bringing new ideas and analysis to organizations, the same types of innovation and ideas that IT systems can generate. While Mr. Carr's perception and hypothesis of future IT systems may not be popular with everyone, he does make valid points that are beginning to shape the business and IT environment. Through expanded and universal use of IT systems, it may become more and more difficult for organizations to differentiate themselves through technology. In the end, technology is just another tool for a business to accomplish its task of providing a service, manufacturing a product, or solving a problem that affects others. Does IT matter? Yeah, of course it does, but not in the same way it did 30 years ago.